Hey everyone, I want to do my first garden video of 2017, and funny enough, this is the second week of March. The other day it was 70 degrees, and I thought maybe we'd be in the clear here with spring and freezing temperatures, and wouldn't you know, it's snowing outside. We're supposed to get a couple of inches today, and it looks like we might get up to 3 to 6 inches next week, so I was hoping to plant these out actually this week, and that's not going to happen. I'm gonna probably have to wait for another 10 days or 2 weeks before I plant these out, and I'm not sure if I want to step these up, transplant these into bigger pots. I think for now I'm just going to wait, and then hopefully I can just plant these straight in the ground in about 2 weeks. Let me get in here. So these six plants right here are broccoli. I have 4 broccoli and 2 cauliflowers in the back, and I just marked these with leftover popsicle sticks that I bought like 3 years ago. So just getting rid of those. I've had a lot of people commenting on my Instagram that these look like little grave markers. So I'm hoping that this year I can do better with broccoli and cauliflower, because last year I didn't plant the seeds early enough, especially for the cool weather plants. I started them actually, I think I started all my seeds on February 28th last year. And this year I started them probably 3 or 4 weeks before that. So I'm hoping to get a little extra time out of harvesting these cool weather plants. And all of these over here are also greens. So the front 4 here are chard. Let's see if I can get this phone in here. The first 4 here down here are Swiss chard. And behind that I got 4 spinach ones. Over here is arugula, and this middle row here of 4, there's 2 Dino Kale on the left, and then the right is just 2 regular kale plants. And in the back here, this is a mix of mesclun and just lettuce. These are doing pretty well. A few of the lettuce plants, the dirt level got low, and their stems and roots were showing, so they're a little floppy, some of those back ones. But all these other ones are doing well, and I topped these off with a little bit of compost as opposed to just seed starting mix, so they get some nutrients in there. I had that left over from last year, which I got delivered from a garden center. Let me show you what I got in the other room. I did transplant my pepper plants and my tomato plants. So let me go and show you those. They're in the other room here. Here are my plants, which I just transferred over probably 2 days ago, maybe 3 days ago. And this has been great because I cleaned out my shed, and I'm reusing a lot of stuff that I just had either in the shed or even in here. So this big tub is a great example. This perfectly fits 16 pots. And I had this was just collecting dust for 2 years in my shed. And then over here, you could see that I have a temperature controller. And underneath this thing, I have a heating pad. So I have this temperature controller, which I bought 3 or 4 years ago when me and a couple friends used to brew beer. So we used to use this to control refrigerator temperature at like 50 degrees or 45 degrees if we wanted to lager a beer. And I've been using the heating pad because this controller works either with hot or cold elements. So I just plug a heating pad into this temperature controller, and I have it set at right now I have it set down to like 62 degrees, 63 degrees, which I'm fine with that because I'm trying to get these plants used to a little bit colder temperature. But I started the seeds at about 80 degrees, and then once they started growing, I dropped it down to about 70, 75. And different plants grow better at different temperatures, but this is the first year that I'm doing this kind of elaborate stuff inside. Last year I literally had 3 or 4 pots in cardboard boxes. I didn't have any artificial light, so I was just opening my windows and letting sunlight come in. So on rainy days or dreary days like today, you weren't going to get much sun. So these plants, I'm hoping, are growing a little bit better in these initial 4 to 6 weeks. So we can go through and look at some of these plants here. It might be hard to read the name on the popsicle stick, but this is a Serrano Pepper plant. And here we have Poblano. Now last year, Poblano, I grew from seed last year. This is the same seed packet that I bought 2 years ago. And This grew so slow at the beginning, and it ended up being the tallest plant that I grew, and it fell over, and branches broke off, and I lost a bunch of peppers, so I'm hoping to cage these up better this year and get a better harvest. And this is an orange sweet mini pepper. I also grew this last year, and I saved the seeds. And over here, I have my herbs. There's 2 parsley plants, and then in the back, I have 2 basils. And let me get in so you get a good look at the basil. This is also kind of got some weird coloring going on some of the leaves. I don't know what that's from, but I'm assuming and just hoping that it'll outgrow it once it starts to come into its own. And going down with the peppers and tomatoes, this is related to the orange mini plant. This came in a pack. It was 3 different colors: red, yellow, and orange. And it could be any one of those. I don't know which color this one's going to be, so we'll see how that goes. Probably should know that in about June or July. This one, I don't know how to pronounce it. Douce de España. This was just a seed packet that I found in Lowe's, I believe. And, it was an organic pepper variety, so I decided to get it. And I think it's a little hot, but not very hot. I think it's more of like a mild hotness. So, between growing spicy plants and the sweet peppers, this should be hopefully a little middle ground. And then this is giant jalapeno Gigante, which this is also, I believe these are seeds from a plant that I grew 2 years ago, and I saved them. So these seeds were 2 years old, and I didn't buy these from a seed pack, or I didn't get these from a seed packet. Now, a couple of tomatoes are probably doing the best. This one is a beefsteak. So this will probably produce, actually, not probably, it'll definitely produce the biggest tomatoes out of the plants that I'm doing this year. Unless I decide to buy a transplant from a nursery, which I'm sure I'll end up doing. But this one is yellow pear. I grew this 2 years ago, though I didn't save any seeds from that. So this is a new seed packet. And I really like them. The yellow pears are kind of like cherry tomatoes. And they have a pear shape, and they're sweet, so they're good for salads. So here's the Roma plant, and this was the biggest plant so far, so I put it in the biggest pot. And I'm hoping that this is going to be my main tomato sauce tomato variety, which I've never grown before. I've done San Marzano the last 2 years, and I also did a variety of a beefsteak. I think it was called Big Beef. So this will be the first time doing Romas, and I know these are widely used for sauces and also tomato paste. And I just bought a food dehydrator, so I composted so many tomatoes and really so many vegetables between squash, cucumbers, mainly cucumbers, because those came in so quickly. But, I composted so much last year, and I'm hoping to dehydrate and save as much as I can this year. These are the last few. Over this side, I got more basil. That was the Serrano, which I showed you before. And these are the last 2, a sweetie, which is a red cherry variety. And then this is my last basil plant. I have four different basil pots, and most of them have 2 or 3 seeds that I let go. So I think this is the best start that I've had since I began gardening maybe 4 years ago. Every year I've built up a little bit, and this is the most that I've planned in advance and got the timing right. And I maybe even could have started earlier with some of the cool weather plants, but you learn a little bit every single year, and it definitely teaches you patience. So I'm hoping that this year is going to be my best harvest. And on top of that, with the dehydrator, I'm hoping that I could just save more plants instead of having to compost them when they start to go bad. Many of these are varieties that I grew last year or 2 years ago. I get most of my seeds from big box stores like Lowe's or Home Depot, and I'll get transplants from a local garden center. But other than that, I really would like to find some unique seeds online. I still haven't found a good website to buy them off of, mainly because I just bought so many at Lowe's when I went there. Once the snow melts, I'll do another garden update outside, because the interesting thing there was I put together a PVC greenhouse, and I have a couple plants that survived throughout winter. And we've had a relatively mild winter this year. We haven't been below freezing for more than 1 or 2 consecutive days. It's gotten, between the sun and just the temperature, it's gotten above freezing almost every single day, or at least like 5 or 6 out of 7 days a week. So many plants made it through. And I also put together a chicken wire fence, which was using cheap $3 or $4 fence post from Lowe's and a roll of chicken wire. So you'll get to see that. So if you like this video and you want to get my future garden updates, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And most importantly, if you're interested, get out there and start gardening yourself. This is the time of year to get started, regardless of where you are. Start planting things out, or go to your local garden centers first or big box stores second to see what kind of transplants they have, because they're going to have a lot of the most popular greens and tomato and pepper varieties, along with herbs. So get a couple plants, even if you just do pots. That's how I started my first year, and I worked my way up to raised beds. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a great day, everyone.